Hello guys, hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, could you please put yes in the chat section below? And we'll be starting in 5 minutes. Hello guys. So I hope you guys know what Road to DevSoc is. Like this is the fourth iteration of Road to DevSoc, and I hope you guys have already attended the previous three sessions and learned a lot from yesterday's Anand's React session, and this will be the fourth session, that is PixElevate. So why do you guys need to attend the PixElevate session? So in this session, I'll be covering all the like almost 95% of all the industry's UI UX terms, and I'll be sharing with you the best uh, design process, ideal design process, which you should follow to build any product or any app. So starting off, so what is UI UX? So before we start off, I'll give you a situation. Imagine waking up in the morning and reaching out for your phone to check the weather. You open the weather app, but the interface is cluttered and confusing. The information you need is buried under unnecessary buttons and ads. Frustrated, you quickly switch to another app which offers a clean and intuitive design. Within seconds, you find the weather forecast you were looking for effortlessly navigating through the surface. This simple scenario illustrates the impact of UI UX design in our daily lives. It's not just the aesthetics or visual appeal, it's about how well a design interface can make our tasks easier, save time, and enhance our overall experience. By understanding the design principles and techniques of UI UX, we can create interfaces that are not only visually appealing, but also intuitive, seamless, and enjoyable to use. So let's dive into the world of UI UX and explore how it influences our daily lives and products we interact with. So, what is the difference between UI and UX? UI basically refers to the user interface, the visual elements, and the layout of the product, including the color, typography, icons, interactive components. It focuses on creating an aesthetically appealing and visually appealing design that aligns with your brand. So basically, whatever you see on the surface of your phone is the UI, and whatever you experience, the user experiences, is called the UX. UX aims to create a seamless and satisfying user journey by understanding user behavior, needs, and goals. It involves research, testing, and designing information architecture, user flows, and interaction to optimize usability, accessibility, and other satisfaction. I'll go up, I'll teach you all, like, don't worry about the terms, everything is covered in the presentation later on. So, what is the importance of UI UX? UI UX, as I previously mentioned, is important for user satisfaction. It is also important for user engagement. So if you feel good in an app, you probably would come back to that app. So it increases the user retention as well. So, which may also lead to the business success, right? And brand perception and loyalty. So, have you seen the four colors of Google? So, like, if you see green, blue, uh, yellow, in your mind you get the uh, like, you know that this is Google or Microsoft, right? That is the brand perception and loyalty which you might have. Differentiating and competitive advantage. This is an important, like, important importance, I would say, because these days everyone wants to use the same, like, the see Swiggy and Zomato. There's not much difference, but why would you go to Swiggy or why would you go to Zomato? Because it has some, like, a slight change in the experience, which may cost, like, which is an important factor. Cost saving is another important factor, which means, like, investing in a good UI UX designer in the initial phase would not would like lead to a better user experience and user retention. So that is the importance of UI UX. Moving on, what is user centric design? This is like the most common word used in the design industry. Like, they'll be like, design for, like, your design should be user centric. That is, you should keep the user in the center, while, like, you should have user in the mind while creating your app. So there are four steps which you need to consider. That is, first you need to understand what the user feels or what the user needs. You need to specify what the user needs. You need to design according to the user, and then later on you test. That is, you evaluate based on what the user. I'll go through what evaluation in detail means. So stay tuned. So another important uh, aspect is designing for cross platforms. You have a lot of screens. You have a monitor, you have a laptop, you have a watch, smartwatch, and you have a phone. So you have to stay consistent while you're creating or designing across platforms. So things to consider while designing for cross platforms is the screen size. See, my screen size is 16 is to 10. So some people's screen size might be 16 is to 9, and your phone's ratios might differ. So that is one thing which you should consider. You should also consider interaction, because see, in my laptop I do not have the touch screen. I just use a keyboard and mouse, but in my phone I have the touch screen, and in my watch I just have two functions, that is left and right. So you should take care of interaction. You should also take care of context layout. See, on this laptop my context is horizontally laid, but on my phone I can see that the context is vertically displayed, and on your phone it might on your watch it might be on square. And it also has different functionality. See, on my uh, phone, the presentation might not be as good as I am presenting on the screen right now. So that is a functionality. So what are the four C's while considering, like you should keep in mind while designing in for cross platforms? First is consistency. Consistency is the most companies have specific design guidelines that need to be followed in order to stay consistent with their brand identity, which refers to the visual appearance and voice of the company. When designing a product, it's essential to stay true to the company's brand guidelines in order to maintain consistency across platforms and drive brand awareness. See the CodeChef's logo. This is like consistent all across. My presentation here in the Instagram post. This is the format which we are using, and the space, that is we are using the space layout everywhere, which is we are consistent. See, in the Google they are using four colors. They're consistent everywhere, which means increases the, which means it has a better uh, user interface basically. Next is the continuity. See, when you have to draft a mail, for example, you save half of the work on the laptop and then you want to continue on the phone, but most of the apps do not have that functionality. uh, See, for example, Figma, I can use the Figma on my phone as well, and on laptop as well. So the changes are automatically saved, that's also important. So the interface is continuous. And next is content. So while it's important to consider the context of each platform you're designing for, this means thinking about when and how user prefers to interact with certain features on different platforms. See, if you have, this image clearly explains everything. If you have a notification on your laptop and a notification on your watch, both you cannot specify what the subject is inside the watch, right? You just need what what is important in the, what context is important in the watch. You cannot put all the content in the watch, right? So that is what context refers to. And complementary. See, one of the ways to create a great cross platform user experience is to make sure the design of each platform adds something new for the user, taking into account how each platform could uniquely enrich the overall experience in the best way to create complementary UX design. See, photos of the while using the Gmail, you could also connect through the photos of Google, right? So which means that the Gmail and photos are complementary, and you could add photos from your phone as well. So this is a great UI of Google, which I would say. So coming on to the design process, this is the most ideal design process which most professionals in the industry use. That is to empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. We'll go through each process in detail. Don't worry, I'll guide you through. So, what is empathy? The ability to understand someone's feeling or thought in a situation. Deeply understanding user needs helps you create well researched personas that lay the underground for product design. So, for example, there's a handicapped person. So, if you empathize with the handicapped person, you understand that uh, there might be like he might face difficulty while climbing up the stairs. So, that's why we have the lift, or that's why we have the ramp. So before creating any product, you need to find out the pain point of any individual. That is, first you need to empathize with the user. Moving on, there are three ways to empathize with the users. One is creating personas, creating user journeys, and using user journey maps. So you might have a doubt what is persona. Everything will be covered. So what is persona? Personas are fictional characters whose goals and characters represent the needs of a larger group of users. Each persona that you create will represent a group of users with similar characters that you have learned about through your research. Personas are a key to design process because they reflect the lifestyles of users, giving your team an idea of how to meet users' needs or challenges. See, here's an example of how a user persona should look like. You can pause the video and check this out. What are user stories? A user story is a fictional one sentence story told from a persona's point of view to inspire and dis- inform design decisions. User stories are short and impactful with a clear action and benefit. This is the format we use to create user stories. As a type of user, I want to action so that I benefit with what. So here's an example. As a user, I want to cancel my tickets so that I do not lose my money in case of emergency. So here, who is a user? What you want to do? You want to cancel the tickets so that what do you want? I do not lose my money in case of any accident. Are you guys clear? Do you guys have any doubt till now? I see no doubts, so we'll move on. What are user journeys? A user journey is a series of experiences a user has as they achieve a specific goal. Because user journeys can be very interactive, design often create maps to organize a step and outcome from various journeys that user could take. After all, if you can't put yourself in the user's shoes, you cannot be sure your design will really help them. So here's an example of retail customer journey. Like the person needs to purchase, researches on options, like you do research, right? So he researches on phone, then he goes to store, then he purchases, what is usage and supports, and repeat purchase. You can check this out in detail. Like if I there is a cause so that he needs to purchase, and then it was difficult to compare options, so you could create a app which could compare. So here, these are all the pain points. These are all what you could make an solution to. Moving on. Second is the define phase. In this stage of process, you need to propose a specific measurable product solution that best addresses your users' goals and pain points. That is, create problem statements. So, what are problem statements? Problem statements, okay, first, how should a problem statement be? The problem statement should be human centered, broad enough for creative freedom, and narrow enough to be solved by a design solution. I'll give you an example of problem statement. Problem statement. The problem statement: who is a or an who needs what, because why. So it is similar to the previous one. So Cam is a working student who needs reminders, suggestions, and coaching to cook more often with fresh ingredients because they like to cook and want to make it as a part of the routine. So this is a problem statement. Third phase is the ideation phase. During this phase, you will sketch some ideas for implementation and interfaces that your user can interact with as a part of your design solution. This is when you get to put all the research from the first two stages of the design process into action. So, how do you ideate design solution? So there are four ways in which you could ideate for any design solutions. One is competitive audit, that is to check out the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. Use the strengths of your competitor in your app and ignore the weaknesses of your competitors. Ideate sketches using crazy eights. Crazy eights is one of the best techniques to find a solution to a product. Like you take a paper, uh, create a grid of eight, and then you you get into the shoes of the user and try to sketch what difficulties he might face. And third is the how might we. That is, how might we solve. You should get to at least 4 to 5 how might we's to, like, how might we solve the mess problem, how might we solve the uh, AC problem, everything. So you need to get at least 4 with the user persona. Second second is fourth is the storyboards. I'll tell you about the storyboards later. So fourth is the prototype. The fourth phase of the ideal design process is the prototype, an early model of the product that demonstrates functionality. The goal of prototyping is to identify and solve problems related to function of your app. Later, you'll get a chance to test your prototype with real people and receive feedbacks to improve your design. So prototype has two types, that is lo-fi and hi-fi. I'll show you everything. So here's an example of lo-fi prototype. So what are the benefits of low fidelity prototype? Low fidelity prototype is very quick and cost efficient. Uh, it also explores the idea in the early stages, focuses on the functionality and the user flow, as you can see on the right side of the screen, encourages collaborations and feedbacks, iterative improvements. Like, you iterate on this low fidelity prototype to get to the best app possible, and reduce attachment and flexibility, and increase flexibility. And there are two ways to test a low fidelity prototype. Research plan organize event part of usability study from start to finish. Elements of UX research plan. UX research plan is basically like a document. You need to make a Google document or a Word, so which comprises of these 7 elements. That is called the research plan. That is, what is the project background, like why are you doing this, what is the research goal, like what might be the outcome. Research questions, like you might question the user and write about the research questions. KPIs is the key performance indicator. And methodology, that is how are you going to solve it, that is outline the steps. And participants, like whom are you going to solve for. And then script, that is what discussion you had with the per- person while testing the low fidelity prototype. Usability study. This is also an important term in the UX field. A research method that helps us understand how easy it is for the participants to do code task in a product. There are two types of usability studies, that is moderated and unmoderated. Moderated is one where, like, you sit with the user and ask him to do, like, okay, can you navigate to the uh, final page of the, can you complete the checkout process. Like, you stay with the user and tell him what instruct, like you tell him, like, I need this now, I need this, like, can you do this. That is what a moderated usability study is. Unmoderated usability study is where a user is let free in a room and his screen is recorded with his permission, so that we could study what difficulties he might be facing and then make changes according to it. That is called unmoderated usability study. So I told you there are two types of prototype, that is low fidelity prototype and high fidelity prototype. This is the high fidelity prototype, which you can see on the right side of the screen. What are the benefits of high fidelity prototype? That is, it looks realistic, representing the final product. It is effective user testing and feedback can be done. Like, you see everything clearly, right? And clear communication of design and intent. Effective decision making based on accurate representation. Like, you know what goes where, because in the low fidelity prototype there is just rectangles everywhere. So you might also be confused, like what photo is going on where. So increase stakeholder engagement and enthusiasm. You show it to your client, he gets excited. Oh my god, my app might look like this. And so it might increase the encouragement of the stakeholder. And interactive design improvement based on the user and stakeholders input. Like, design improvement based on the studies which you have done, like the moderated and unmoderated studies. Fifth one is the test. Testing phase is when the final solution of a product is tested on a full scale. It helps to evaluate whether a solution might or might not work. The prototype that considered best after considering the feedback from customers and end user is implemented. The testing stage can provide both positive and negative results depending on the success and failure of the prototype stage. Like if you have made the changes which uh, which the users have faced, which the problems which the users have faced in the previous stage, then there should not be any problem in the testing stage. That is what it is. How is user testing conducted? So it lets user analyze multiple prototypes, allows users and to experience the prototype in real time, encourages users to be vocal through their experience, observe while user interacts with prototype, have follow-up queries. So this is moderated usability study. It encourages users vo- to be vocal through their experience so that we understand what he's feeling inside, and we should have follow-up queries like why couldn't he perform this task, why couldn't he uh, complete the checkout process. So that's the example. So how could you solve the problem using user testing? uh, Problem solving saves both money and time. It helps reveal unexpected insights. It helps provide enhanced user satisfaction. Like if you're concerned, if you were facing a problem in the initial stage and the designer has changed the design according to you, you'll obviously feel satisfied, you'll obviously feel enhanced. And so you, while designing, right, you don't know, like if you might have missed some buttons somewhere. So while the moderated and unmoderated studies, you might come up with the insight something like this, like you have missed something, you have missed this button here. So that might be the thing. So do's and don'ts in the design industry. I want everyone to grab their phones right now and comment in the live section. Like I want your answers. So which one of this would you think is looking good for according to the user? Please put your answers in the chat. I am looking for your answers. Yes, as Habibullah and Akshat Gupta have stated, the right one. Could you guys specify the reason? Could you guys specify the reason? Y- Yes, it is properly aligned. You get the reason here. Zigzag alignments look very hard to follow and unprofessional. Horizontal alignment increases readability and makes the design feel consistent, helps filling details faster. So you have to maintain this. This is one learning. You can note down, that would be better. And this, which one do you think is correct? I want you guys to comment. Utkarsh, you're unfortunately wrong. And Sarah and Aryan and Jayantika, everyone. I'm sorry to miss out your names, but the right one is the correct answer. Because icon like adding icons with label represents rational UI. It it feels better. It feels complete. So which one do you think is perfect? Yes, Habibi. Icons help in recognizing. Yes, Shiv. Yes, the process bar helps the user to know in which part of the process he is in. Like on the left side, you don't know where are you. You cannot track the progress, right? Limit saturation. Which one is correct? Shivam, same. I don't trust either. Yes. Hey, not the left one, right? Limit the saturation around 180 to 250 of tone level is the best to balance contrast. This looks odd, right? Don't you guys feel this looks odd? Comment. I need the comment. Easier to eyes. Yes, Achintya. The right one is easier to the eyes. Buttons hierarchy. So which one is better? The right one is better because there is only one call to action in the right side. You do not need a user to make more than two actions at a time. So rather than making buttons, you add a bold text highlighted option in the sign up, right? Always say no to pure blacks and pure whites. Okay, this is one of the greatest learning which I have learned through my experience. Always use darker shades of gray or like yellow tone of whites. Okay, this we have covered. So many of you guys have DM me regarding the resources, like, Bhaiya, I want this resource. I want to uh, join communities. I want to join podcasts. I want to see how the others do. So here are the few resources and tools which I'll be sharing. So one is online community and forums which you can join. UX Stack Exchange, question and answer platform for UX professionals and enthusiasts to seek advice and learn from others' experience. And second one is the Designers Hangout, online community for UI UX designers to network, share, and engage in discussions on design related topics. Uh, I want this to be put up on the chat box. Yes, you guys can access this links for the online communities and forums, like, because I have received many requests in my DMs, I'm putting out this. And few of them wanted design podcasts, so I would recommend two design podcasts. One is UI Breakfast and other is Design Matters. I'll put up the links of those in the chat box as well. Sure, here it is. Like, UI Breakfast is hosted by Jane Portman. He's like a very professional UI UX designer. And Design Matters is hosted by DB Milman. So you want to see others designs and get, you want to be inspired by their designs, and you want to check out others case studies. So here are like top 6, I would say, design inspirational platforms which you could go on. Behance is Adobe own platform for designers to showcase portfolios and connect with clients. Dribble is a community platform for designers to share work, receive feedback, and connect with others. Pinterest is visual discovery platform for collecting and sharing design inspirations. UX Collective, online publication and community focused on UX design. Awards is like one of the best websites which I have seen. Recognizes and showcases exceptional web designs and creativity. I I personally tell you guys to, after the session, go to the awards um, website. Okay. And the sixth one is the Designer News, community driven platform for sharing design related articles, news, and resources. And design thinking and user research, if you want to see like how the research and design thinking is done, you can follow these two websites which have shared in the chat box. And guys, coming to the end, we I hope you guys learned something from this session. Hope you guys are taking something away with you after the session, and hope you are clear with the ideal design process. Tomorrow, Aryam and Avasti will be taking the flat session on Flutter to create amazing apps, and this would be the fifth iteration of Road to DevSoc. You guys know what DevSoc is, right? Could you guys uh, comment in the comment section? Do you guys know what DevSoc is? I'm waiting for your response. Okay, I hope the marketing team has done well, that everyone knows what uh, Road to DevSoc and what DevSoc means. DevSoc is the CodeChef's annual flagship hackathon, which would be conducted in the first week of June. And if you guys have any doubts, you can DM me anytime. Hope we meet in DevSoc. Thank you.